Spara drizza, spara drizza! No, guys, spara drizza! Take the spinnaker down, take the spinnaker down, take the spinnaker down.
This is the World on Water for May 15, 2020. Here are our highlights for the sport of sailing for the last 7 days. First off, we look back at the Swedish Match Cup in the semi-finals in 2013 and look at this incident. Last week, the Ocean Race put out the film of the 2001-2002 fantastic Volvo Ocean Race. Continuing the experiences of the sailing Frenchmen in the Clip Around the World race, they're in the Southern Ocean. Let's enjoy the Finns. And the RORC's Louis Abib talks to Caffari. Hanuman, Jim Clark's J-Class boat, is in for service at Royal Huisman in Holland. Now over to Marstrand in Sweden and this fantastic buoy pickup.
Che non si vince tanto, è inutile, Castleback. Vaffanculo, va. Sta puttana. Spara drizza, spara drizza! No, guys, spara drizza! Take the spinnaker down, take the spinnaker down, take the spinnaker down. It was a lot of fun, especially taking the mark with the spinnakers. It was first time.
Welcome to the Volvo Ocean Race 2001. It all began in 1973 as the Whitbread Round the World Race, when 17 boats left Portsmouth, England, to sail 27,000 miles around the globe, stopping at various ports before returning to Portsmouth for the finish.
Stand by, I've got 1 minute, Scotty.
No problem, start going up. 10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
4, 3, 2, 1.
go, go, go.
7 races on, and what started as an adventure is now the Volvo Ocean Race. Professional crews at the pinnacle of their sport, racing flat out over 9 months. 9 legs, 33,000 miles, and this is the route they took. The first half of the race comprises just 3 legs. Leg 1 taking the fleet from Southampton to Cape Town. Then across the Southern Ocean to Australia, where they joined the notorious Sydney to Hobart race before going on to New Zealand. Leaving Auckland, the boats head deep into the Southern Ocean, rounding Cape Horn to enter the relative safety of the South Atlantic on their way to Rio. America beckons with stops in Miami and Baltimore before the dash for home across the Atlantic to La Rochelle, Gothenburg, and the finish in Kiel. But what exactly is it that makes these sailors leave their families and friends to risk everything to race across the world's most treacherous oceans?
You're scared, tears are coming, you're so scared you almost freeze up, but at the same time you have a smile on your face.
You'll be probably frightened at times, scared, worried, you'll hate it. You'll absolutely despise the fact that you're involved. And when you get to the finish, you'll know why, because there's nothing like it. It gets in your blood and you can't get rid of it.
Into the Atlantic, and Deduce was the first casualty of the strong winds and upwind battle.
We had to take the mainsail down for quite a few hours and try to make a sort of very creative car that could hold the thing up.
Makeshift repairs lashing their sail to the mast allowed them to continue, but now dramatically off the pace. Next to suffer was Tycho. A damaged rudder resulted in retirement from the leg.
It's highly unlikely that we'll be doing any more racing in this league, that's for sure. It's more of a situation now of not risking the boat or risking the people. So incredibly disappointing for us all here on board, and reality sort of sunk in a little bit this morning. Just saw the skid and realised we're 150 miles behind everyone else. But we need to live to fight another day, and we're going to get the boat to Sydney one way or the other.
Huge water spouts coming this way. One boat's just got engulfed in it. And I think we're going to have to get all our sails down and sit and wait and hope it doesn't get us.
It just sort of charged towards us, and it was just spreading, getting bigger and bigger, and and we were, well, I was wondering what are we going to do.
We could make a detour around the Cape here after Tasman Island, and all the others went into less wind, and we arced around them, and now we are in the lead, which feels fantastic. We are 4 miles in front of the next boat, so keep your fingers crossed.
Halfway around the world, 10 months since I've been home, and wow, what a feeling. What an amazing feeling. I never dreamed, not 1 second, that this could happen.
Round Cape Horn and Amma 1 and Deduce opted to head east around the Falklands, whilst the rest of the fleet chose the more direct westerly route. Time would tell who was right.
Yeah, Sad Blue have been sailing us all over the ocean today. Really been quite frustrating. They've been taking us both out, slowing themselves down, slowing us down. And really I can't see their tactics with 4,000 miles to go. It's a bit early for that sort of carry on.
Here you see everybody, it's totally copied our sail program. They, everybody more or less has the same type of sail inventory that we have. So yeah, they've caught up there, but we've always been a little bit slower downwind and light air. Leg 1 we showed that weakness, and so far we haven't really had a whole lot of that condition so far, but we did on this leg, and so it hurt us.
Very ugly, incredibly ugly. Lost 9 miles. Mate, that was a bad one.
We've got to get on our game, and we'll do whatever's necessary to do that, and I'm brutally ruthless to make sure this campaign stays on the podium.
And what has happened to Tycho? A poor result in leg 6 leaves Kevin Shoebridge and crew in despair.
Oh, the guys are, they're bitterly disappointed, really. Like, we always expect a lot more of ourselves, and we needed to have a good leg this league. We needed to get out and cement our position, and it's now Dolts has got second, News Corp's won, which were the 2 boats closest to us. So we're, right back to where we were 2 leagues ago.
During this leg 3, we never really had strong conditions. The massive low pressure we've been riding for almost 10 days gave us sustained conditions, with winds around 45 knots, going up to 65 in the squalls, but not much more. Same for the sea state, which never gave us more than 6 to 7 meter swell. The most particular thing of that leg is that we almost never got downwind conditions. We sailed all the time on a fine ridge to a beam ridge, which at best was uncomfortable, but not as fast as a good downwind with big surfing conditions. But because of the breaking waves, it was a wet ride for sure.
Can't stop. Is this true? It's completely true. I have great evidence. And how many packers have you gone through today? This is probably number 3.
Jesse, could you please explain what it is you're doing there? Why it's so annoying?
I'm emptying the sink because we're on a port track, and the sink really needs 2 plug holes.
2 plug holes?
Yeah.
So simple, wow.
Yeah, just so we can actually drain it.
What a great idea.
Yep.
At the helm, I've taught him everything he knows. Let's see how he goes.
Alright, how's it going? We are 700 miles from Fremantle, and here's Mark doing the log. Hey Mark, how's the log going?
G'day mate, just cooling in the log here. Going alright, eh?
Hey, Ned Kelly, don't you reckon? Ned Kelly.
Well, welcome to the Royal Ocean Racing Club's Time Over Distance Series, Volume 6, and we've got Dee Caffari at home in Titchfield. Hi Dee, how are you doing?
Good afternoon to you. Very well, thank you, and thank you for having me.
Wonderful to have you, Dee. And I really mean that. I've been looking forward to this one, I can tell you. an intro. Dee doesn't really need one, but I'll give you the recap. Dee has sailed round the world 6 times. Her first solo round the world was the wrong way, followed by the Vendée Globe the right way. And Dee is the only woman to have sailed solo non-stop around the world in both directions. Dee has raced in the last 2 editions of the Volvo Ocean Race with Team SCA and skipper of Turn the Tide on Plastic. That just says it all, Dee. The amazing things you've done. But in an hour, we are only going to be able to look at some of what you've done. There's an awful lot more about you than just what I've said there. But we'll touch upon a bit of that. But if you're happy, I don't know if the people out can see. We've got a cheeky couple of pictures here. So we're gonna swap it round. And Dee, you were really cute. How old are you in those pictures, Dee?
What a shame I've changed. It started so well. I was on the right-hand side, I was 9, and on the left, looking quite glamorous in yellow fowlies, I was 6. But little did I know that I was going to spend most of my life looking like that in yellow fowlies. So it was maybe a prediction of the future I wasn't aware of at the time.
So tell us, where did you go sailing as a kid? You obviously did.
Well, we had a motorboat. I grew up and my dad had a motorboat, and we used to keep it on the Thames at Hampton Court. And it was like our weekend caravan. So every weekend, every summer holiday, every Easter holiday. And I probably learnt my seamanship from my dad at that stage, but I never stepped foot on a sailing boat at all then. But I, threw ropes, tied knots. I did a lot of navigation and kind of motorboat maintenance. And then I came across from the dark side and stepped onto yachts a lot later, when I was 18, in fact. And I've got a horrible feeling that there's a really horrible picture of me coming up next for that.
Here we go. No, I tell you what. You know what? Well, just tell us first of all, what this is with your dad, I know, but just tell us where it's taken, what's the boat, that sort of thing.
So this was, my dad had this dream of kind of retiring to the Med, living on a sailing yacht, and my mum would send him little paper envelopes full of money to keep him in that lifestyle. It never happened. It was a nice fantasy, but he was quite keen to do some more sailing. So I did everything with my dad, and we went off to the River Yelm, and we did our RYA competent crew and day skipper on a rival 36, that was. And we had all sorts of weather, and I remember doing man overboards in a howling gale in Plymouth Sound, thinking surely that's going to be it for the day as we came in. And we literally stopped, anchored, had lunch. And then the guy said he wanted to do a whole load more. And I was thinking, you are kidding me.
Okay.
But that was kind of my baptism into sailing. And we used to tell him how he should moor his boat, because obviously we'd come from a motorboat background, and he told us how to do the sailing bit.
Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, when I saw that picture, Dee, I could see, you're physically, that's 18 years of age. You must have been doing some serious sport as well. What kind of sports were you playing then?
You have to be very careful how you say that, don't you, Lou?
I thought I got away with it quite well.
My hair. I don't know what my hair's doing there. I was playing England volleyball, junior volleyball then, and I was playing more and more sport, and I'd had a background of dancing, realised that I wasn't going to I was getting a bit too big for the dancing, and sport kind of took over my life. And then I went to university and did a sports science degree, so basically just kept playing sport, really.
Okay. There you go. So, I mean, there's a nice bit of background, but it isn't, what we're seeing today, where people are getting into, the Oppie class and stuff like that at 6 years of age and going up through those ranks. It wasn't a normal route for you, Dee, was it?
No, not at all. And I'm very aware that I kind of jumped into big boats and came without that background of dinghy sailing, and my boat's gradually getting bigger. So I was very aware of that, and very aware of the naysayers kind of commenting on that. So I tried to do as much as I could to prepare myself and cover those bases that I'd missed, those kind of chapters that everyone else seems to do, to try and make up for the deficits that I had in my understanding and my training and my sailing experience, to try and bridge those gaps a little bit.
Right. Okay, the next slide. you know, we're talking about here is 2001, Mike Golding. How important in your development was this?
Oh, this was crucial. This was my first job in the industry. I'd changed careers in 2000. I'd been a school teacher for 5 years, and I went over to UKSA on the Isle of Wight and retrained, and that kind of opened my eyes to a whole new world I didn't even know existed. And I remember seeing the jobs go up on the board, and I was thinking, oh, what shall I apply to do? And I'd kind of heard of this Mike Golding, I'd seen what he'd done, and I was thinking, wow. And I saw the photos of everybody wearing their white fowlies on the last race that he did, and I was thinking, God, do I have to wear white fowlies if I go and work for him? And I remember having that thought in my mind. And you know, he had a pretty tough reputation at the time, and I remember going to Ocean Village. I was on a boat. We were doing our preparation for our yacht master, and my leg took us into Ocean Village so I could go and do my interview. And my interview at the time was with Ali Smith and Graham Terrell. And I met them and we talked, and then I had to meet Mike that moment. But yeah, I took my job with him, and I was the nipper on board the Challenge 67 they had, with Graham Terrell as a skipper. And then a year later, he moved on to the race boat, and I stayed and I took over the corporate boat. So I did a couple of years of corporate sailing, Rorke races, fast set races, transatlantic races, and kind of getting up my mileage and my experience.